Good morning. Hi, Eliza. So I'm live a little bit earlier than usual, quite a bit earlier than usual. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. All right. So let me see. All right. So for many of us, we're going through something right now that's leading to a tremendous amount of change, right? We're going through something that's changing, altering the trajectory. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. This one. Hold on. I asked this morning, first, should I come live? First and foremost, should I even live stream today? That was the real question. Should I even live stream today? Obviously, yes. Obviously, the answer was yes. And so I asked what the reading was going to be about, and I heard some interesting stuff. It was a full-on conversation. And let's just do all of this. Okay. Let's set that aside. Do all of that. So the conversation that I was having with Soul, it led to the conclusion of removing the obstacles, but will you cooperate? So whatever's been blocking is being removed, but really though, are you going to cooperate? Oh, are you going to allow yourself to experience whatever it is that's needing to be experienced, whatever connections, whatever blah blah blah? The trajectory of your life is being changed right now. And really the way you're going to experience this change is highly contingent on your willingness to cooperate with yourself. Are you willing to cooperate? That's the question. Are you willing to cooperate, right? Are you willing to cooperate? I'm just going to drop that. I don't even, yeah. Okay. Let's pull that. Just random pulls. I think I don't want to use this deck today. We'll just leave that alone. All right. We're ready. Power in reverse. So whatever's going on, it's a sense of feeling disempowered, feeling as though you don't have the choices and the options that you want, the choices and the options that you believe you need to have in order for you to do whatever it is you need to do, right? Whatever you think you need to do it. And I think the emphasis is on think, because of the fact that for some of us, we have a tendency to overthink things. And in that overthinking, what we're doing is making things so much worse for ourselves. We are over processing, and in that over processing, we're creating more situations than actually exist. And then that creates tension, and you store that in your body. And then next thing you know, you're not feeling very good, or you've pulled a muscle, or, whatever it is that happens. Death in reverse. So this is not something that's going to be quick. All right. This is something that's been being phased out, cycle after cycle after cycle, but it still has not completed. It's something that we keep returning back to simply because we don't know how to move forward from it. It's this sense of we don't know how to move forward from it. It's comfortable because it's the known thing. And so that's what we keep going back to. That it's easier to go back to something toxic, something that we know that toxicity, versus walking forward into some unknown. Ooh. Oh, Lord. When the narcissist tears you down. Ooh. I'm wondering if that has to do with the environment that you're already existing within. I'm wondering if that's the environment, that's a toxicity that you've been existing in, an environment where you've been torn down, torn down, torn down. And so it's very, very scary for you to walk forward because it's like, if this person has done nothing but tear me down and, like I can tell they love me, um, then maybe that's all I deserve, that type of logic. I tell you right now, as much as you think a narcissist loves you, they love themselves so much more. For a narcissist, everyone is expendable unless they can benefit off of you. And the moment they can no longer benefit off of you, whether it's from receiving supply from you or financial assistance or, whatever it is, um, they're going to keep you around if they can continue to receive something from you, some type of gratification. But the moment they no longer can, you're expendable. How can you base your perception of how much you deserve? Base it on that distorted, toxic love from a narcissist. I don't believe narcissists have the capacity to actually truly love in the sense that humans define love. I believe narcissistic love is ownership of you. As long as you are a valuable commodity in their eyes, then yes, they will own you. But when you're no longer some type of commodity that they can use in some way. I once knew this narcissist who really is not very tech savvy. And they always purchase like the newest phone, but she don't even know how to use the functions. You use it as a regular phone. So why do you always need to get the newest phone? Well, because that's a status symbol. Are you being kept around as a status symbol? Oh. Let me not. Let me not. I've got to get away. I've got to run away from the pain you drive into the heart of me. Once I ran to you. I'm just saying. That's some tainted ass love. That is some tainted, tainted, tainted ass love. Mm-mm. So this is a process that might extend all the way through to autumn this year, right? And it can go faster if you don't fight your process. But if you continue to do what you're doing, then it's probably going to take until autumn. We're well into summer. It's not that far away. It's only a few months. Excuse me, Guardian. So there's someone, I don't know if they're actually in your life or if you just, oh, are you a watcher? Hmm. I've got to run away. I've got to get away from the pain you drive into the heart of me. Let me just drink. It's up to you. There's someone who kind of serves as a guardian for you. And I assume that this person Either you have conversations with them or you watch their social media posts, maybe they live stream, whatever it is. And whatever they post or say, the content that they are publicly posting, it's this sense of that's the very thing that guards you from going too deep into that toxicity. Is it me? Am I the guardian? I'm just like, why are we doing this to ourselves? What is it? Is it this settling for something that you know is not worthy of you, but because the very thing that you do want, you don't know if it wants you back? Then you'll go ahead and settle for the second place type thing. I remember my aunt, she's like, she tried to be so positive raising my cousins, first winner and the second winner. And I didn't know this. I didn't know this, that it was a way of trying to inject some type of positivity. Um, and the first time I heard that, she was like, "Oh, you're first winner and you're second winner." And I was like, "But the second winner is the first loser." And she looked at me and she's like, and I didn't understand. I didn't understand. So is that what you're doing to yourself? You're trying to create a positivity out of something that's not necessarily positive, and you're trying to, you know, very skillfully dance around the topic of, are you just okay with being the second winner? For me personally, I'm not even okay with playing any games. I don't want to be a winner or a loser. I just want the freedom to exist in a place that's not tainted, exist in a way that's not, uh, I don't know. This is going to be intense. This is going to be an intense reading because I think for quite a few of us, we're not realizing how much we've intellectualized and how much that intellectual logic is really not aligned with our intuitive knowing, our intuitive urge, our needs, and our understanding of those needs based on our intuitive knowing. You can't be all logic. You can't be all intuition. When you begin to exist as strictly one or the other, you enter deeply into a space of duality. And that was never, it was never the goal. The goal was to recognize that temporary state of duality as you work to achieve a space of totality, where you exit out of being one or the other and understand that you are a whole being, that you deserve it all. It's not an or type thing. Why can't we use and, right? It's not either or. It's this and that. I am this and I'm that. I'm worthy of this and that. These limitations that we agreed to exist within. Who imposed these limitations on you? Who told you that that's all you could achieve? That's all you are worth, or that you couldn't do this and you couldn't do that? Who told you that? See, a lot of the things that I've done in my life, I've done in silence because I've been shamed so much for various reasons, primarily because people don't understand why I think, who do you think you are that you think you can do all of these things? Your mom? I think I'm your mom. I'm sorry. Right? When I was much younger, makeup artist, hairstylist, I also could do wardrobe. And I worked with a friend that I knew from high school, and he went to school for photography. Like, that was his actual career choice. He had um, the artistic background. That's what he went to college for. He got the degree. He had all the equipment, all of that. And I was supposed to just remain his makeup artist, hairstylist, and wardrobe if he needs it. And then my husband was like, well, the scheduling is too hard when you're trying to schedule, coordinate for all of those people. And as a stay at home mom, so it was kind of this thing of like, it's just too hard to coordinate the schedule. And he encouraged me to just take the pictures myself. He bought me a camera. I've never taken a class or any of that to learn how to work a DSLR, a digital SLR. And I figured it out. I still don't know the technical terms, but I promise you I can bang out a picture like you'd never believe. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be able to do that. I didn't know. I didn't know until I was well on my way and there was a hubbub over me and my work. And all of these ladies wanted to work with me. And then I was talking to my friend from high school, and you could tell he was kind of annoyed. And I was just like, whatever. And then I thought he was getting paid. Apparently, he had never been paid. I was getting paid. And he's like, wait, you get paid? People pay you for this? Yeah, they do. And that kind of ended our conversations. And then I needed to work on the pictures to produce a final product. I looked at a few things and I taught myself how to do post production editing to the degree that I've edited for publications. Never took any class on that. And I didn't know I wasn't allowed to do that until one of my husband's friends, who this is his career, he's an amazing person, amazingly skilled, very, very talented. And he made a huge deal with my husband, like, holy shit, your wife can do that? And he's like, yeah, she just teaches herself, whatever. And he was just like, whoa. And I didn't know I wasn't allowed to do that. I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to teach myself how to do web design. I didn't know. So I did that too. I didn't know that years later, I shouldn't be allowed to teach myself how to become a confectionery person and specialize as a chocolatier. I didn't know that. I got frustrated working with the chocolate ones. And one of my old neighbors, she's a professional chef. And I messaged her because I was like, this chocolate is irritating the shit out of me. Like, I don't understand. What am I doing wrong? It keeps getting messed up. And you know, I worked through that before she could answer me. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be able to work through that. She was the one that let me know, like, yeah, no, chocolate is the hardest thing to work with. That's why when I was going to culinary school, I was like, F chocolate. And I was like, really? She goes, yeah, it's ridiculously temperamental. It's kind of like you. And I was like, I know, right? I know, right? I'm just so temperamental. This chocolate's pissing me off. It's like I have to deal with myself. And I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be able to do that. I didn't know that I was supposed to work within specific limits that prevent me from accomplishing things that I just can accomplish because I never had anyone around to teach me limits. Just like I never had anyone around to teach me about social cues, I don't know how to be a limited human. I just don't. And I don't say that as I'm bragging. I say that as like, I don't understand that concept. I just never understood it. And when finally I got to an age where people could tell me, like, you can't do that, I was like, yes, I can. Why couldn't I? Yes, I can. How much have you taken in from other people telling you that you can't do something simply because they can't do it? It's not you can't do it, it's they can't do it, and they don't want to see you succeed where they couldn't. My photographer friend, um, he was only okay with me taking pictures because it wasn't avant-garde enough like his is. His would be avant-garde high fashion. I can do that, but that's not really what I like the most. I prefer like boudoir, monochromatic. I prefer editorial. Um, I can do high fashion and avant-garde, but that's not what makes me extra happy. And that's why he was okay with that. Because he's like, "Oh, well, you can't do what I do." I mean, I could. I could. And then there's this other photographer who befriended me. He was local and he had a little studio that he set up in his warehouse. He had a different job, but he set up a studio in his warehouse. And I remember one day I asked him if I could rent his studio for a couple hours, and he's like, "Oh, hey, just go ahead and use it. You don't have to rent it." And I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." So I go and use his studio, and he's a big shot photographer guy, GWC. Yeah. He's a big shot photographer guy in his head, and he had the budget for the expensive lights. He had the fancy ass camera, and he said my camera was a toy because the lens was not detachable. That was a camera I started with. It's still a DSLR, but the lens was not detachable. And I took pictures and I pushed the envelope. The model that I was working with was ridiculously skinny. And on top of that, she's a yogi, so she could fit anywhere. She literally could fit anywhere. And so I utilized that. And I took probably close to 3 or 4,000 images of her. And before I could edit them, my friend, my then friend, he wanted to see pictures, right? So I sent him some raw images and he stopped responding. And then I asked if he got the pictures because he wanted to see them, and then he stopped responding. And his response was, "Wow, you did all that with your little Mickey Mouse camera?" He called it a Mickey Mouse camera. I said, "Yeah, does it look bad? Like, did I not do the lighting correct?" And he's like, "No, I would have never thought to do that. But you're not me, and I'm not you. So I can't take pictures like you can, and you can't take pictures like I can." Being able to celebrate how you're different than other people instead of seeing it as a way that you stick out like a sore thumb and therefore are diminished in your value because you're not like other people. He didn't like it. He didn't like the fact that he liked the picture and that it was nothing he'd ever shoot. And he wanted to so bad because then after that, he went and got a couple girls to come and take pictures with him at his studio, and he tried to recreate it and he couldn't. And instead of just saying, like, yeah, that's just how you take pictures, you're able to see things in a way that you see things, and I don't see like that. Oh no, he tried to say, well, my model was too fat. I was like, you're a dick. You're a dick. Oh my God. Yeah. My model couldn't fit. That girl was not fat. No, she wasn't. She was not overweight in any way, shape, or form. He just couldn't get the angle that I got it at. And then he tried to say it was because you're so small. We're the same height when you lay on the floor. I'm just saying. We're the same height if you lay on the floor. He didn't know that. He didn't know what angle I took it from. See, when I do something, I do it all the way. When I do something, I do it all the way. I don't half ass. I just don't. And I remember not long after that, I did a photo shoot with my husband's friend. And this is what he does for his career: artistic stuff, visual art stuff. He's a graphic designer, web designer. Like, he does all kind of shit. He does commercials for commercial clients. Like, he records the commercials. And he wanted me to do a photo shoot for one of the owners of the company he works for. The girlfriend or fiance was going to go ahead and open her own hair shop, and she wanted the photos for her website. And I asked her, "Do you want me to do your makeup or do you want to do it yourself? Do you want me to do your hair as well?" And she said she wanted me to do everything. And I did her makeup and her hair. And this woman is gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She's a professional hairstylist. That's what her service was going to be. And I asked her, "Where do you part your hair?" She says, "I want it to be a steep bank." And I was like, "Okay, which side?" And she told me, and for her, this is steep. For me, that's steep. I'm going to look at your face and I'm going to see exactly how far I can push it to exaggerate things in a way that gets you to see yourself in a way that's different than how you've ever seen yourself. And that's what I did. And she told me later on, "I thought you were going to fuck my hair up." I was like, "Really? You should have just said something." And she goes, "No, I wanted to see." And I was like, "Are you disappointed?" And she goes, "No, I love it." Where'd you train? At home? At home. That's where I trained. And during that photo shoot, what happened? My husband's friend saw how I took those pictures. I was laying on a dirty ground, rolling around on the ground, literally, to get the angles that I got. And he's like, "Holy shit, you do all of that." I do. It's like, "No wonder your pictures turn out so amazing." You think? That was my reaction. You think? Really? He goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." You have to be willing to do what the other people aren't willing to do to get what you're trying to get. And I'm not talking about compromising yourself. I'm talking about going beyond the average, the basic, the norm, going beyond that, allowing yourself to be in a space of vulnerability in order to create your most beautiful creation. And the thing with me is, no matter how good the picture is for the last shoot, it's my goal to top that at the next shoot. I'm not simply going to recreate that. I need to excel. I need to go beyond what I did the last time. When was the last time you allowed yourself to have that type of logic for your life? The obstacles are being removed. Will you cooperate? And in that desire or agreement to cooperate with your soul, are you just thinking that cooperation is like, "Well, I'll just let it happen"? Or are you going to actually make it happen? Because sometimes cooperating, that has to deal with you doing your part, meaning taking the action, making the decisions, creating the circumstance, opportunities, whatever it is, in order for you to get to whatever degree of success you believe you need to be at. See, some people will say, if you believe it, you can achieve it. And other people will say, just because you believe something doesn't make it true. I say, if I believe it, I will achieve it because I will not stop until it is. I will not stop until it is. Makeup, hair, photography. I taught all myself that. My goal was to be published in a national publication. I retired not long after my work was picked up by Maxim magazine. I already did what I wanted to do. I'm done. I literally retired. Chocolatier. Within, I'd say, a month of me actually filing for my LLC, barely started. Someone from a massive corporation in New York accidentally got samples for my truffles, and he offered to launch my company. I declined. That's not what I want. It's not aligned with what I want and my vision for this company. I want to do it myself. Maybe about a month later, maybe less. Pretty big casino, because I was in Vegas at that time, reached out to me, tried to woo me to become a vendor, which I agreed. And I was a vendor for that casino for a massive convention. And then I shut my company down. I'm done. I didn't reach out to them. I don't even know how they found me, but they did. They did. And one thing that I didn't understand as it was happening, but I understand now, and it's mind blowing. The head chef, I don't know what they call him. They called him chef, and everyone was kissing his butt. I didn't understand the hierarchy of a kitchen. And all the chefs came, and they wanted to try all the truffles that I make, the different flavors, and I brought them all samples. And the head chef, he bit into it. His eyes got big. He popped the whole truffle in his mouth, and he starts kind of like jumping in place. And I looked at everyone, and their eyes got really big, and they looked at me. I didn't know what that meant. Apparently, he only does that when he really, really loves the flavor, the texture, all of that. And he rarely does that. I didn't know what it meant. I was just like, does that mean it's good? Because I don't know what that means. Yeah. Yeah. And then he gave me a week to hand create something like 2,000 truffles out of my kitchen. And then I was like, this is not for me. Fuck this shit. I'm done. I'm done. I'm good. You want me to what? And I did. I filled that order. And then I shut my company down. Everything I achieve is because I choose to. And sometimes I choose to achieve things just to show you, you can't fucking tell me who I am, and what I can and cannot do. You think I can't do it? Sit down, be quiet, and watch me as I go beyond what you thought I couldn't do. And that's perfectly fine. It's fine if the adversity that you face in life is the very thing that fuels you, drives you to push yourself even further. But I never do things just because someone told me I couldn't. I do things sometimes because someone tries to imply that I'm incapable, and I need to show myself that I am because I know myself better. I have to prove to myself that I'm not delusional about what I can achieve, what I can accomplish. Do you know yourself to the degree that you know what you can and cannot do? Have you gotten to know yourself yet? Because I'm still in the process of getting to know myself. And from the things that I'm seeing, you know, I think I'm a pretty good person. I do. So something happened in spring that caused you to no longer want to see. This awakening is in reverse. The spring is upside down. Something happened during springtime that really led to you manifesting the situation that you're currently in right now. If you don't like this situation, you have to do something now. You have to stop hiding yourself away. You have to stop incubating now. These are things, changes that need to be implemented during this summer. We are already in the summer season. It has to do with you. Lady, goddess, feminine. It has to do with you. You are the basis of why and how all of this is happening, what it's happening for, all of that. What you want wants you. There's a reciprocity here. Focus on the light in reverse. This is telling me that instead of focusing on the light, what's important right now is you begin delving into your shadow, allowing yourself to do that deep dive, recognizing, realizing that you are not going to drown in your own birth water. When have you heard of a newborn, well, not a newborn, an unborn child drowning in their birth water? When have you heard of that? Have you ever heard of that? That an unborn child has drowned in their birth water. I've heard of um, a stressed baby, like a baby that's stressed during delivery, accidentally ingesting or aspirating meconium. Um, but I haven't heard the birth water being the issue. Meconium is the first poop. It's the first poop. And so if the baby ingests or rather aspirates that, gets it into their lungs, that's an issue because it can develop into pneumonia. There's still bacteria there, right? So it can develop into pneumonia. It can cause respiratory failure, respiratory infection, leading to respiratory failure. So that's an issue. But I've never heard amniotic fluid being an issue. So why? Why do we make things that are not an issue a huge issue? Is it because it suddenly, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? What is the point of that? This is fucking insane. Are y'all kidding me right now? Oh, I'd say I wish a motherfucker would, but they just did. They just did. Motherfuckers just did is what it is. I'm calling. I'm no, I'm not okay with that. Take that shit off. Okay. Anyways, yeah, remember I was telling you, you have to go beyond normal, right? But maybe you're not willing to. If the obstacles are removed and you have to go beyond normal, but you're not willing to go beyond normal, because I mean, who does that? I do. I do. That's why I'm able to achieve the things I'm able to achieve, because I'm not willing to stop until it's done. I'm not willing to stop just because this is where a normal person would stop. Honey, it might be time for you to begin celebrating how not normal you actually are. I used to think that it was shameful how abnormal I am. I used to see it as I'm such an abnormality, which has this negative connotation to it, right? Let's see. Oops. Define abnormal. deviating from what is normal or usual, typically in a way that is undesirable or worrying. Yeah, you can see yourself as abnormal because you don't behave like other people. You don't process life, perceive life like other people. I no longer see myself as abnormal. I see myself and identify as a quantum anomaly in a linear world. I will never exist in a linear way. I will always diverge from that pathway. I will always be something that people don't expect me to be. People come to me thinking I'm spiritual, and then I'm like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck it all. And they're like, oh my God, she's a bad word sayer. Yeah. Depends what the conversation is. I remember I was having a conversation with someone, text, text convo. And I was like, effing A or effing something. I effing love that. And they were like, I know you say bad words. You don't have to edit yourself. But see, those words, the fricatives, they're not always appropriate all the time. In that moment, effing felt more appropriate than saying the full on word, right? So even in that, being an anomaly, something that can't easily be explained, it's okay. It's okay. So, defining anomaly, something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. Hmm. Hmm. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Something that is not easily classified. You can let people define you in whatever way they define you, but you can't continue to pledge your allegiance to the very system that seeks to confine. Define and confine are two different things. It's okay to allow people the freedom to define you in a way that they believe is appropriate, and you don't have to take that in and allow it to confine you. You have to release that allegiance. You have to release your allegiance to the very system that was structured in such a way that it's part of the grand design to imprison you within your own self doubt. That's how this system was created. It's not a broken system. This is the way it was designed to work. In India, they have a caste system. It's this, belief that you are incarnated into whatever social status you're incarnated into, and that's part of your karmic load. You know, and if you're in a specific group of that caste system, you're kind of like the tossaways of society. And, Western culture would say, like, oh my God, that's so barbaric. But let me just borrow your namaste. I swear to God, if Indian people complained more, we would see how much we have stolen from their culture and commercialized. That's so fucking disrespectful. For real. Just so fucking disrespectful. Yeah. Y'all want to talk about cultural misappropriation? Madonna made an entire fucking album appropriating the culture. I love that album. I'm not gonna lie, I listened to that album. But here's the thing. Western society, the United States, we do that too. How many of you have any type of appreciation or compassion for homeless people? Hmm? How many? How many of you believe, be honest with yourself, how many of you believe that homeless people are homeless because they're just being lazy and they don't want to work? How the fuck you think they're going to get a job? Where are they going to shower? Where are they going to get those clothes from to go to an interview? I know quite a few homeless people who, they get the cheapest membership at whatever gym they can so they can use the shower. And then I know some people who complain about homeless people using the shower at the gym, a membership they fucking pay for, okay? The homeless person pays for that membership just like you do. Yet you have an issue. So is it that they're lazy? Like I said, I know quite a few homeless people. Shit, I was one too. By choice. I was one as well. Because I would rather be a throwaway of society so that I'm not disturbed by society's expectations of me. I chose to be homeless. I chose to be transient for several years so that society couldn't bother me with its expectations of what I should and should not do. Hmm. All the obstacles were removed and I made choices. I made a choice to cooperate with what my soul was giving me the opportunity to learn. That was one of the most profound periods of my life. It was not a horrible period, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I was so far removed from society, the societal norms, that I literally, when I tried to apply for a loan to get a newer RV, not a brand new one, a newer used RV, um, even with my driver's license and my social security number, the worker came back and was like, "Are you hiding from the government? FBI looking for you? You don't exist. You're a ghost." And I said, "Well, you might be inputting my name wrong because I have quite a few names." Like, "No, we tried all the different combinations." You don't exist. That's how far removed I was from society. That based on the societal norms of verifying your identity and your value and your trustworthiness, I was not in that system at all. At all. Like I didn't exist. And that was the most beautiful period of my life. It was beautiful to be free to just be who I am. It was. I wish my account hadn't been completely scrubbed from Facebook because that documented my growth. So many nuggets of wisdom in thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of live streams. And you could see in real time the blossoming of me. But of course, there will be human beings that exist that can't have that. My account was taken down because someone formed a group specifically to take my account down. Did I do something wrong to them? Did I offend them? Did I harm them in some way? No, I stepped away because I saw they were toxic. And I needed to be punished for that. That's why. That's why. And these people knew I was homeless. And that while I was homeless, I was still giving everything away. But, you know, we don't like Emmy. Why? Well, because who the fuck does she think she is? Being homeless and giving everything away and making us look like we're assholes. Well, I'm sorry, but you are. I can't make you look like you're not when you are one. Right? So this whole time, people might think that that's easy to say, Emmy, because, we all love you. And so you can have that courage. You know how many people hate me? Do you know how many? Do you know how many people are just absolutely bothered that I exist? I don't know and I don't care. Their feelings towards me, their sentiment towards me, their efforts to try and destroy me is none of my concern. But I will use the frustration and irritation uh, to fuel my rise. And I will continue to rise. And for some of us, we think that, oh, softly, softly, the tender touch, the communication needs to be soft, it needs to be tender when it's appropriate. Not all the time. Because sometimes we talk a little bit too softly to ourselves and we can't hear the actual truth of what's going on. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. This is going to be interesting. Card number 21, Mirrored Soul. So this is someone that's very, very similar to you. You're both starting a new chapter. Are you starting a new chapter together or separately? What is this? What is it about? Right? Transformation in reverse. This is someone who maybe it's this thing of like they're in the process of a transformation, but they don't want to acknowledge it. It's too scary. I mean, is that you? Is that describing how you're processing your life? You're in the process of a transformation, of a rebirth, but it's so scary that you're like, no, no, that's not cooperating. Okay. The lack of willingness to surrender to your own soul. I would never ask you to or encourage you to surrender to someone else. No retreat, no surrender. That's my logic in life. There's someone that is advising you. They're all up in your head, all in your ears, and they lack integrity. They absolutely lack integrity. What do you believe? Do you believe in yourself? Maybe it's time to burn that bridge with that person who lacks integrity. It's time to stop them from doing that. Balance. You have to balance yourself. You have to be centered between your shadow and your light and allow for that balance to exist. Walk your truth. They can talk to the hand. You need to start walking away from those types of situations. See, this is someone who either doesn't like you shining or they don't like that you're going to go towards someone who shines. They're opposed to that. They don't like that. Card number 12, emotions. Your emotions are your power. Oh, you can, oh, I feel it. I feel it. Cosmic connection. Cosmic connection. There's a cosmic connection waiting to take place. There's a cosmic convergence. You're very close to achieving your goal. Very, very close. Very close to achieving whatever it is that needs to be achieved. Your dreams need a practical plan. Someone needs to be a little bit more bullheaded about what they need to do, right? The energy is gaining momentum. They're starting, whoever this is, whether it's you, whether it's someone else, it's starting to increase in intensity and momentum. Let's read something from Kali. Hold on. Yes. All right. And then I must go. My goodness. All right. Ooh, Dumavati. 22 being the number of elevated guidance. 10826. 100% a totality leading to a merger. 8. 6 plus 2 is 8. Beloved mother who dwells in the smoke, who presides over the most difficult transitions, she who knows that certain endings are unavoidable, they are necessary predecessors to radical reinvention. Her presence brings this message that through disappointment, defeat, or loss, and the negative repercussions of such experiences may cause suffering for a time, they will not limit your future happiness. They are a means for opening as yet unrecognized pathways for fulfillment. Your trust must be unconditional at this time, and later you shall see that everything has worked out for the absolute best. Trust where your life is leading you. The seventh of the Mahavidya wisdom goddesses is Dhumavati. She is the crone goddess, and uniquely in the Hindu context from which she arises, also a widow. Her name means she who is made of smoke. And as the expression goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. Dhumavati is associated with a profound suffering. Just as smoke is polluting and concealing manifestation of fire, it can be hard to believe there is any divine blessing, hidden or otherwise, when we are in the agonies of intense suffering. In honoring Dhumavati, we acknowledge that suffering is part of life and can develop compassion. Our capacity for kindness is often in direct proportion to the suffering we have experienced and processed, as it can grow empathy and wisdom in the soul. Some continue to create pain for themselves and others alleviate suffering in the world through what they have learned. The difference comes through the willingness to face and process pain. And that's what it is, the willingness to face and process pain. Pain, disappointment, unhappiness, dissatisfaction, disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. Life unfolds in the way it is meant to unfold, not in the way you have carefully designed it to. You are not the ultimate. You are not the ultimate in your life. Your soul is. It's your soul that's in charge. It's not someone outside of you. It's something that exists within you. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm rushing. I have to go. Um, Major changes coming. Let it. Let it. Let it. I promise you, no matter what pieces fall off, you didn't need those pieces. And in place of those pieces, you will receive new things. You'll be able to construct whatever it is you need to construct for yourself in your life, if you get out of your own way. And it becomes even easier when you use your hands to be the very parts that help to construct, help to build up, rather than waiting for something outside of you to do it for you. Give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. I'll see you guys.